The Saints' 24-9 win over the Falcons. Hill finished the game with just under 300 total yards to go along with 2 rushing touchdowns and a fumble. So, Shannon, from what you saw yesterday, if Breeze retires, will it be Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston going forward next season?
Hell, if the defense go play like that, hell, they can put me in this. You gonna get 8 sacks and 2 interceptions.
Amen.
I can play quarterback. Skip, I think the thing is that when they signed this kid in the offseason, Sean Payton told him that if something happened to Drew, he would give him an opportunity to start.
I believe he made him a promise.
Yes.
Yep.
And he looked better than I thought he would. Because all I'm used to seeing him as Gadget. And you come in and Skip, it's hard to prepare. Skip, it's hard to prepare for a Gadget guy because Drew Brees is going to get 60 snaps. This guy's going to come in and get somewhere between 5 to 7 snaps.
Yep.
So how much time are we investing? And because the unknown, okay, there's like, okay, and I'm sure Atlanta probably thought they were going to start Jameis.
Yep.
Because he was the guy that came off the bench. It's hard for a guy to come off the bench, Skip, and then they like do a total 180 and go to the what we would soon call him a gadget guy. But Skip, he played well. He threw the ball 18 of 23, 233, 51 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. But when all else fails, throw it to Mike Thomas. If you throw it to Mike Thomas, you can't go wrong. He targeted him a bunch, and how many targets did he have? Mike Thomas had 12 targets, 9 for $104.
That'll work.
Emmanuel Sanders had 5 targets for 66. So, Skip, I thought he did an unbelievable job. The question is moving forward. Do you believe, and it's like you said, whomever we was going to put in here, we was going to have to build a game plan that's totally structured, suited for that individual. Now, Jameis is more along the lines of Drew Brees. Drop back, throw the ball. He's a little bit more mobile than Drew. Not the accuracy, but he's more of a prototypical quarterback. This kid here, it's going to be interesting to see, Skip, because what we've seen guys like this, the league catch up with them if they don't learn how to throw the football consistently and accurately from the pocket.
Okay.
We see that with Baltimore. So I don't envy. We're going to find out a lot about the Saints. At Denver, at Falcons, at Philly. Next 3 games on the road, and they get my homeboy at home. If I had this, even after what I saw yesterday, all things being equal, I think in an off-season, if it comes down, I say they go Jameis.
And I agree with that. I was also pleasantly surprised by what I saw.
Yeah.
But I remain a Jameis fan, and my jury is still out on Taysom Hill as a full-time starter.
Right.
I have a hard time. I don't want to overvalue this game because of what the defense did to Matt Ryan. It did to Matt Ryan what it did to Tom Brady a couple Sunday nights back at Tampa Bay.
Even worse.
It destroyed Matt Ryan,
It did.
and he came in hot-handed.
He did.
They were 2 for 10 on 3rd down. He had a QBR of 19. He
was that
having
high?
a hard time. Yeah, I know. But he made some throws. Didn't he throw for 250?
Yes.
So, yeah.
232.
232. But every time I looked up, Cam Jordan was sacking him again. And he was on his back foot, falling backward most of the day.
No, Skip, he was 2 of 14 on 3rd down.
2 of 14. I was thinking who was 2. I was thinking of a different game. 2 of 14. Okay, 2 of 14. It was a disaster for the Atlanta Falcons, who had come back to life a little bit as they changed coaches. So, to me, he did throw the ball pretty well, but a couple of times he tried deep balls. I don't know if the ball was slipping out of his hand, but the one that Emmanuel Sanders caught, if we could see this is a classic punt that Emmanuel Sanders had to reverse field and come all the way back from. I don't know if it's a slip, but he had to stop and come back, and he caught it. The DB keeps running to the goal line, and Emmanuel comes back and catches it for like a 44-yard gain. I don't know if it's a quote-unquote back shoulder throw. That'd be the only
ain't no back shoulder in the middle of the field like that, Skip.
I don't think so. But, and again, I don't know if it slipped, and he threw another one down to the goal line that got called back by holding that actually went for a touchdown, and it was Emmanuel Sanders had to stop and come back for it. So I'm not sure about his deep throws, but on his mid-range game, he had it.
Yes.
Because Michael Thomas buys into him. And I was impressed with what Michael Thomas said after the game, because he said, he's a dog, man. Taysom's a dog. He's a baller. Okay, when you hear that from the guy who was the Offensive Player of the Year, I'll take that to my bank.
Right.
Because he's bought in, and now we get to the difference. Obviously, those many longtime viewers know I was a big Tebow fan.
Right.
Okay, what's the difference here in Tim Tebow? Well, the biggest difference is Sean Payton has bought completely into Taysom Hill because he discovered him.
Right.
John Fox and John Elway in 2011 had not bought into Tim Tebow because they did not draft him. Josh McDaniels drafted him 2 years before. They were stuck with him, and they tried to get him over, you know, like, let's just get this over with at Miami, remember? And they won in overtime, and here went Tebow mania. So what's the difference that I see between Taysom Hill and Tim Tebow? Taysom Hill is more athletic.
Yeah, oh yeah,
he's quicker.
Yeah, he's more fluid.
He is a powerful runner with athletic ability.
Yeah. With speed, he can run, Skip.
He can run. I mean, didn't he time 4.3 or 4.4?
Yeah, he like 4.4.
Okay, so he can make you miss, but he can also just run flat over you.
Right.
And yet, he's a pretty good mid-range thrower with a pretty big arm. But Tebow has a big arm also.
Right.
But the biggest difference to me that I don't yet know, because he was under no duress in his first start, because he was freewheeling because the defense is just carrying you. It's like Tua's first start. Well, what did I see that from Tebow that I haven't yet been able to see from Taysom Hill? Tebow, in the last 5 minutes of all those games he started in 2011, led the league in QBR over the last 5 minutes. And as our man Eric Mangini once said, the later it gets, the more accurate he gets. Well, that was Tebow. Well, is this going to be Taysom Hill in the clutch?
Well, Skip, if they defense play like that, they're not going to need him in the last 5 minutes of the game.
And obviously, the Denver defense came alive from 1-4 in 2011 and played very well.
But here's the thing, Skip. The problem that you have that scares you so much about these guys is that if you run past them, a Kyler, a Lamar, guys that have wheels, where you run past Tom Brady's not going anywhere. These guys going to go get 20, 30 yards in a heartbeat. Kyler Murray, you run past Kyler Murray, he jumps out the window, he gone. You run past Lamar, you gone. So at some point in time, guys are going to start leveling out and not running past them. And so we're going to make you beat us throwing the football. Can he consistently beat you throwing the football? Yeah, but hey, as weeks progress, teams are going to come up with a game plan and says, okay, this is what we do. Now, I'm taking Michael Thomas away. I'm going to make him go. I'm going to make him go elsewhere with the football.
Well, Atlanta was unable to do that.
Well, you got no chance. You give him those easy crossing throws to Mike Thomas.
Okay.
Now, it's a lot easier said than done to take him away. But, Skip, if their defense plays like this, I don't care who the quarterback is.
Well, what did Teddy Bridgewater do a year ago? He went 5-0. Yeah. He didn't lose a game, 5-0.
Because how many times did they sack Brady? I mean, they had 8 sacks yesterday, 2 interceptions. They picked Brady off twice. They picked Brady off 3 times, and they sacked him like 3 or 4 times.
So they have 5 interceptions against Brady, including the 2 in the opener.
Yeah,
right?
And they did that, Skip, with their front 4.
They did. I got it. But again, if it's down to Sean Payton's pride, he's going to try to make this kid work.
Yeah.
If it's down to who best replaces Drew Brees in our system, well, it's Jameis.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the thing, they said Brees has the injuries like, 5 or 6 broken ribs on one side and cracked on the other. So he might be out for a minute, Skip.
Yeah.
I assume.
You never know. How about this one from yesterday, though? We had 2 Catch of the Year candidates in yesterday's Cowboys-Vikings.